We will start today by working on a little bit of the mixed review. There are a couple of problems here that I would like you to try. So as we've been doing, if you'd like to pause, you can try to work them out first yourself. And then when you unpause, it will magically appear with the answer and you can check your work. So I'll give you guys a minute. Go ahead and pause and then unpause and you will see the answers. So here are the mixed review answers. Hopefully you had a chance to kind of practice with that. On number 1, you should have ended up with y equals 5x minus 13. And for number 2, your answer should be no. There is no correlation between a teacher's salary and their shoe size, at least none that I have ever heard of. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about graphing absolute value functions. We'll start off with what we call the parent function. The parent function is kind of that most basic function that starts at the origin. And if we look at the slope of each side, it just goes up 1 and over 1. The graph, if, for example, was being added to or subtracted by another value, it would have the same shape as this parent function, but would be translated up or down by that many units. So if k is positive, that means we would move the whole graph up. If k is negative, that means we would move the whole graph down. This example shows that relationship. So we begin with the parent function here, and the equation says that we're subtracting 4 from the parent function. So that simply means that we would be translating down 4 units. So the exact same graph, just we have changed the vertex. I usually refer to this as the vertex. We would just translate that vertex down 4 units. Otherwise, the graphs have the same shape and are the same size and all of that. So if we look here in problem 1, an absolute value function is going to have a V-shaped graph. And if we can compare these two, it says, how are these graphs related? Well, if we look at the red graphs here, because I've added my own, which I'll explain in a minute. When we look at these two red graphs, we can see that they're the same shape and they're the same size, but this one has been translated up 4 units. So we know that that means if we were going to write the equation, we would add 4 to our parent function. One thing I do want to add in here is what happens if we want to flip that V shape and have it open down instead of up. The book doesn't really talk about this much, but then they throw it into the problems. So I always want to make sure to go over that when you have a negative here in front of the absolute value, its only purpose really is to flip your V shape. So your vertex would be the same in this case, but we would flip the rest of that V and it would open down because of the negative in front of that absolute value. We can see the graph of this type of equation where we now have the plus h is inside the bars, those absolute value bars. We can say that it also has the same shape, but now it's going to be a translation to the right or the left. And it's always the opposite of what you want to do, and that's because it's absolute value. It has to be different. So if h is positive inside those bars, then you actually are going to be translating to the left. If h is negative, then you're going to the right. So just be aware that it's the opposite of really what we want to do. If we look here in this equation, we have the -2 and it's inside those absolute value bars. So we can see the parent function here. I went ahead and highlighted that in yellow. And we can see that we just translated it 2 units to the right because it's -2. So just kind of a chance to see that relationship. So go ahead on your own. You can press pause. Go ahead and graph this absolute value function and then unpause, and you can see the answer miraculously appear. Okay, so when you are graphing out your equation, obviously the scale here is not ideal, going by 2s. So just do the best you can with your slope, making it very similar to what that parent function would look like, but obviously we're just sketching it out. We do know that this means we would translate the V shape down 7 units. So we know that that would make a V-shaped graph, and just sketch it out as best you can. Moving on to problem 3, which I already have done here. It wants us to graph this absolute value function, and it does ask us to complete the table of values. Well, you don't always need the table of values when we're just translating, but I do think it's nice just to see so you can check and make sure that your points kind of line up and match what the parent function would be. In this case, we are plugging in these values for x, and remember, because it's inside that absolute value, anything out of that should be positive. So I just kind of filled those in after I plugged the numbers into the equation, and then you can see I graph those points over here. So we can see that the graph moved to the right, even though it says -5. We can see it's moving to the right, not the left. So just remember that absolute value can change things when you're moving left and right. Now, we added an extra example because they don't do a great job with providing you guys with a lot of examples that have the negative in front of the absolute value. So just remember that negative changes your function, so it would open down rather than up. So you're moving down 2 units from your parent function, but now you want to make sure it's opening down. You could use a table of values to help with that as well, but you know it's going to be translating down, and because of the negative, you know it's going to be opening down. So you can kind of just sketch that out from there. You don't always need that table of values. The other thing that this section talks about is the absolute value function is actually an example of a piecewise function. So a piecewise function is a function that has different rules for different parts of its domain. And remember, the domain are your x values. So for example, when x is greater than or equal to 0, it has different rules. When x is less than 0, then again, it has a different rule. So another example of a piecewise function is called a step function, And here's an example of what a step function looks like. A step function is a function that pairs every number in an interval with a single value. The graph of a step function can look like the steps of a staircase. Each piece of the graph is a horizontal segment that is missing its right endpoint, and that's indicated by an open circle. This is just another type of piecewise function, and so again, it's just kind of introducing you to this concept. I am not going to test you on a step function, but I think it's good for you to at least see an example of it. In problem 4 here, we're going to graph a step function. So we're going to make a graph that shows the relationship between the number of students that go to a football game by bus and the number of buses that are needed if each bus holds a maximum of 50 students. So think about what numbers would work best for labeling the x-axis, what would work best for labeling the y-axis, and then we would label those accordingly. And then we would graph our step function because we know the maximum that a bus can hold is up to 50 students. So I'm going to press pause for a minute and I will fill in our graph here so that you can just see what one would look like for this situation, and then we'll be almost done for the day. Okay, so we can see I have labeled students for my x-axis and buses for my y-axis. I had to add in this line because for some reason it didn't print off. But in any case, I went by 50s here for number of students, and this would represent the number of buses. So if we look here, I start with one bus, and this shows an interval of all the students that could be on that one bus. So from anywhere from 0 to 50. Then the second bus would start at 51 students. So that's why we have an open circle here. And then that would go to 100 students. The third bus would start with 101 and kind of go from there. This is another type of piecewise function, but remember absolute value functions are piecewise functions as well. So this just gives you a chance to see another type called a step function, but it really isn't, it's just something I wanted you to see, not necessarily something we'll do a lot with, okay? So just a quick review. For here we have an error analysis question. So a student is graphing this equation and translates the graph 10 units left. So just describe the student's error. In this case, it's exactly what we talked about. Remember that if the number is inside those absolute value bars, it's the opposite of what you want to do. So if it's minus 10, the student should have moved it 10 to the right. And if you fill in the table here, you would see that would be the case. So just remember the rules, review the rules as you are translating in your assignment, and just be careful because sometimes we have to move them different directions than we might want to. Okay? So now it's time to start your lesson, and I'll talk to you later or see you later. Bye.